for the most incompetent president in history, so I guess she has a reason to be, but being will not sell you books, Jesse.
Is Peter Doocy one of those good reporters? Are you sure?
Look, Peter's a good guy. We have our tussles with Peter too. No mistakes there.
All right. Thank you so much.
And it's a stark contrast to what they had over the past 4 years, where they were gaslit, where they were told Joe Biden was mentally stable and up for the job. That was a lie. Where they were told the administration was doing everything it could to secure the border. Also a lie. I'm very proud to work for the greatest president in history.
Karoline Leavitt has fired yet another shot at former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre as their growing media rivalry intensifies. This round began when Jean-Pierre took offense to a joke Leavitt made about former President Obama, but rather than backing down, Leavitt hit back with a fiery and unforgettable response. Let's get into it.
It's the same person who had your job about a year ago. We call her Binder. KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre. You, I guess, had made a joke about, it was like your mama joke, and she didn't like that. This is what she said. Roll it.
It's deplorable. And I'm using that word on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they don't seem to understand, this is the Trump White House, that they don't work for just one man.
Yeah.
They work for the American people. The White House press secretary is not about doing online trolling. Right. It is not. It is an honor and a privilege to have that job.
That's how Karine Jean-Pierre presented it, dismissing Karoline Leavitt as a troll and calling her playful jest disgusting. Leavitt was not behaving like a proper White House press secretary, according to KJP. Instead, she accused her of wasting time on pointless online gossip and political mudslinging. But Karoline took the remarks seriously, and that's where the story becomes interesting. In typical Leavitt fashion, she struck back with a response so harsh and unreserved that it totally turned the narrative on its head.
Deplorable, and you say?
Well, with all due respect to my predecessor, she is one of the main of the greatest cover-up and scandal in American history. She took the podium every day and lied to the press about the incompetence of her boss. And on this book tour, she continues to lie. She said this past week that Joe Biden would still be up for the job if he had, God forbid, been reelected in November. She actually said this week as well on a podcast that Joe Biden did more press engagements than President Trump currently does now. Any person across the aisle can tell you that is a bald-faced lie.
Karoline didn't hold back for a second. She went straight for Karine Jean-Pierre, accusing her of being part of what she boldly described as the biggest cover-up in U.S. history. According to Karoline, this alleged deception was meant to conceal President Biden's declining mental fitness during the final stretch of his presidency. She argued that while it's now obvious Biden faced serious struggles behind closed doors, Jean-Pierre continues to defend the false narrative, pretending everything was perfectly fine. Despite growing proof to the contrary, Jean-Pierre insists that Biden remains sharp and fully in control, a claim that's getting harder for the public to believe with each new revelation. The uncertainty surrounding whether Biden personally authorized those last-minute pardons has only deepened public suspicion. Karoline's stance is unmistakable now. Jean-Pierre isn't protecting the truth. She's upholding a story the American people are beginning to question. But Karoline wasn't done yet.
When you talk to the real journalists, not the ones who are actually activists that pose as journalists, but the people who actually care about truth, and there are some of those left in the White House press corps. I work with them every day. They will tell you the Trump White House is the most accessible and transparent White House ever. Not only does the president take questions from the press on a near daily basis, multiple times per day, as he did today, but we also provide truthful and accurate information about what this administration is doing and accomplishing.
Karoline responded by pointing out that under her direction, the White House is far more open and transparent than it was under Karine Jean-Pierre. She emphasized the return of accountability and accessibility, noting that reporters now have more opportunities to pose questions and get sincere answers rather than prepared talking points. This was nearly impossible, she says, under Biden's leadership. The difference is night and day, she remarked. An excluded press corps no longer exists.
Contrast to what they had over the past 4 years, where they were gaslit, where they were told Joe Biden was mentally stable and up for the job. That was a lie. Where they were told the administration was doing everything it could to secure the border. Also a lie. I'm very proud to work for the greatest president in history.
Indeed, I remember Biden and Clay Harris telling everyone over and over again that the southern border was secure. They spoke with such confidence that you were about to believe them until the truth was exposed. It came out that those claims were untrue because more than 1 million undocumented immigrants had escaped while they were in charge. During the Biden administration, there were also other cover-ups. The Hunter Biden laptop affair, arguably the biggest political scandal of the decade, was repressed, disregarded, and labeled as Russian disinformation until it became undeniable. As a result, Karoline Leavitt's accusation that Karine Jean-Pierre and the administration as a whole are deceiving the American people is not hyperbole. She is blaming them for years of deliberate deception, denial, and distortion. Honestly, it's about time someone did.
For the most incompetent president in history, so I guess she has a reason to be bitter, but being bitter will not sell you books, Jesse.
Is Peter Doocy one of those good reporters? Are you sure?
Look, Peter's a good guy. We have our tussles with Peter too. No mistakes there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Karoline did not hesitate. She openly called Karine Jean-Pierre bitter, stating that it was to be expected since KJP had previously worked for one of the worst presidents in U.S. history. And that was a really strong jab. The fact that Karoline Leavitt seems to be thriving in her new role and has gotten a lot of praise for her confidence, quick humor, and ease interacting with the media makes this even more fascinating. In stark contrast to her predecessor, Karoline hinted that jealousy might be the driving force for KJP's hostility. After all, witnessing your successor succeed where you failed may be upsetting. Maybe this is the reason KJP appeared determined to discredit her. But even if we can't be positive, one thing is certain. This is no longer just a policy dispute. It's confidential. Karoline won't give up anytime soon either.
Lying liar who lies. She calls herself an independent. Why? She's very mad at the Democrat Party for not backing Joe Biden all the way through to the presidential election. What a farce. She was part of the cover-up. She knows damn well he couldn't have done it. She was part of the reason that they had to scramble to replace him in June, July of 2024. But the lying as she's promoting this book about how she had no idea, she didn't see him on the plane right over the debates, she just wasn't near him, as if it was just a one-night thing and she just missed it in the lead-up. And then secondly, she's getting gut from Democrats for being such a turncoat. And the subtitle of the book is It's Independent, and Insiders Look at the White House. So people are giving her a hard time, like, you're such a turncoat, the Democrat Party made you, the only reason people know your name is because of this party you're ripping on. Why would you betray, like the Bidens too, by giving the insiders account of the White House? And she actually is peddling the lie.
Megyn Kelly didn't hold back while assessing Karine Jean-Pierre. She openly referred to her as a turncoat. Kelly believes that the KJP has not shown gratitude to the party that made her a national celebrity. Before she was appointed White House press secretary, her name was not well recognized outside of political circles. The Democratic Party backed her and elevated her to one of the most important positions in the country in spite of multiple miscommunications and public humiliations. Instead of showing loyalty or appreciation, KJP is alleged to have left the party, resigned, and then disclosed insider knowledge about life in the Biden White House. Kelly didn't think that was brave. It was a betrayal. She sees Jean-Pierre's actions as biting the hand that fed her, taking advantage of political setbacks to further her own agenda.
Jealous that Trump's building this big, beautiful ballroom?
It certainly appears that way, Jesse, and I believe there's a lot of fake outrage right now because nearly every single president who has lived in this beautiful White House behind me has made modernizations and renovations of their own. And in fact, presidents for decades in the modern time have quipped about how they wish they had a larger event space here at the White House that can hold hundreds more people than the current East Room and State Dining Rooms can. In fact, President Obama notably complained that during his tenure, he had to hold a state visit on the South Lawn and get a very expensive tent. To journalists who have covered the White House for decades, as I do here every single day, they will also tell you that administration after administration have publicly and privately spoken about the need for a larger event space. So while many presidents have privately dreamt about this, it's President Trump who is actually doing something about it. And he is the builder in chief. In large part, he was reelected back to this people's house because he's good at building things.
Here's where the irony kicks in. This isn't about personal vanity or self-interest. In fact, the long overdue improvements would serve every future president, no matter their political party. The modernization of aging infrastructure, the expanded capacity for official duties, and the enhanced security measures would benefit any administration that follows. Ultimately, preservation and progress matter far more than tearing things down. While some might dismiss it as a project of pride, history will likely see it as a positive step forward, one for which future presidents will quietly be thankful. At this point, the clash between Karine Jean-Pierre and Karoline Leavitt has evolved far beyond a routine political spat. It's become a full-scale contest over legacy and credibility. On one side, Karoline stands firm, confident, candid, and unafraid to speak her mind. On the other, Jean-Pierre appears defensive and unsettled, still grappling with the lingering shadows of the Biden years. And with Megyn Kelly's sharp critique added to the mix, the fractures within the Democratic circle are becoming even more visible. What began as a simple exchange of words has now grown into a battle for reputation, and right now, Karoline seems to have the upper hand. Her determination, energy, and track record have made an impression, not just on viewers, but across Washington itself. That wraps up today's video. If you enjoyed this discussion, remember to hit like and subscribe for more stories just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.